And his speech title, Forget the System, Forget the System, Brian Porras. Brian Porras, Forget the System.
If you all see the fire alarm going off, it's because my speech is about to be heat. In high school, I was an all or nothing student. In classes I enjoyed, I'd give it my all. In classes I hated, I did nothing. For example, in my math class, I didn't even need formulas, no short division, no long division. I just got the answer. And about half of the time of the other students, then they'd pass my paper around like it was a blunt, so they could each copy the answers off of it. In my kinesiology class, my teacher told me if I got 100%, I was cheating. Lucky for him, I got 120%. I got a lot of A's. I even scored 90% on my IQ test. The other side was F's. I have what's called dyslexia. If I look at a paper for too long, it turns into alphabet soup. I can't read it, I can't eat it, it's no good. I still get my B's and D's backward, the lowercase ones, when I'm writing. So I always skipped on English class. I hated it. I even skipped one time to sneak into detention. That's how much. I was a very weird kid. I was half genius, half animal. They couldn't control me. I was very malnourished, skin and bone. I had bags under my eyes, and everybody was afraid of me. Matter of fact, one of the security guards, I was his martial arts instructor outside of school. Everybody was afraid of me. But my best friend was the most popular kid in school. So if you had to talk to him, best believe you had a bodyguard standing right next to him. I would often sneak into his class. One day in the morning, I'm walking towards school and I stop by the local donut shop. I pick myself up a custard and a couple of sugar packets from the dispensary. I go to my friend's class because he has a substitute, and she starts calling for roll call. Is this student here? Here. Is my friend here? Here. Is Sergio here? Sergio was absent, so I was Sergio. I raised my hand and I stayed there for about half the class until I decided to stand up. And I had a little bit of that sugar packet from the donut shop. Disclaimer, I did not do drugs in high school. I had a little bit of that sugar packet from the donut shop on my wrist. And I said, teacher, I don't understand what's going on in this class. And her jaw dropped. You should have seen it. I ran right out of the class. 10 minutes later, I come back into the classroom and said, teacher, you gotta try this. And I go again. She tried to grab me. I ran out, grabbed the trash can, and stick it in front of the door to barricade and run off the school campus. Security searched me for cocaine. All they found was sugar packets from the local donut shop. One of my more famous pranks, I stood up in sixth period and I wanted to leave, go home early. So in my usual fashion, I grab my backpack, sling it around my shoulder and say, forget the system. And I waltz out of class. Disclaimer, I no longer curse, but I did not say forget the system. I said F the system, the F word, and I walked out. Little did I know this would lead to my nickname in high school becoming F the system. I walked back in the next day and they said, what'd you say? I said F the system. So they started calling me it. Every time we had a substitute teacher, I would jump on the table and go F the system to the whole class, and I'd run out and go home. I never got in trouble. And the funny thing is, that was my nickname. They'd see me and call F the system to me. I don't even know what that means. But I think I can bring a meaning today. So I shouldn't have graduated because I struggled on subjects. But whenever we had a group project, I would be absent. My group would do the project. I'd come in on the final day and nobody would want to give the presentation. So I'd take the notes on something I know nothing about, get up, and we'd get an A because I would speak. See, the system didn't teach me how to public speak. There was no public speaking required in school. There was no presentation class, but we were all expected to give it. So forget the system, I'm giving that speech. The system was supposed to teach me how to read, but it didn't. After I left high school, I started reading books. Now I'm the fastest reader I know. I read books every day. So forget the system. Whatever environment you were brought up in, because you were maybe forced to go to that school as a kid and didn't have a choice, it doesn't matter. You can break away from that as long as you remember to forget the system.
Okay.